You want to go for a walk? So this is going to be a long one. It's for Monday, the 4th of October. And there was 22 dividend payments. I sat down to make this video last night, but I'd been awake for ages. And I was hoping it would be a few. But then when I looked and saw it was 22, I just went to sleep. Yeah, it's going to be a long one. But there was 20 ordinary dividend payments and 2 bonus dividends. And quite a few first-time payments. Looks like about 6. And a few have gone up, a few have gone down, and a few have stayed the same. But it was a total of €1.27. So today, or well, yesterday, Monday the 4th, that achieved the goal of enough dividends to reinvest without having to actually put any more money, invest any more into the account. So eventually, when every day gets like this, there will be at least a little bit that I can reinvest every day, even if I don't have any means of putting more money in. Anyway, I'll get straight into them. The first was ARES Capital Corporation. Ticker symbol is ARCC. It's about $20 per share at the moment. It's based in the US and it's in the miscellaneous financial services industry. It's a specialty finance company that operates as a closed-end, non-diversified management investment company. Its objective is to generate both current income and capital appreciation through debt and equity investments. So it includes unitranche loans, which are loans that combine both senior and mezzanine debt, generally in a first lien position. Second lien senior secured loans, first lien senior secured loans, mezzanine debt, and mezzanine debt, which in some cases includes an equity component. Now its current dividend yield is about 8%, and this was the first dividend I received from them, but they pay a dividend every quarter, and this was for 34 cents per share. Its quarterly profit margin is a nice 104%, and over the last year is 32%. Its quarterly debt to assets is 55%, and over the last year is about the same. And its annual cash flow from operating is negative $557 million, and from financing is $707 million. And number 2 was ARES Management Corporation. Ticker symbol is ARES. It's about $73 per share at the moment, based in the US, and it's in the investment services industry, and it's an alternative asset manager. So it offers its investors a range of investment strategies, and it operates through 3 segments, which are credit group, private equity group, and real estate group. Its current dividend yield is 2.47%, and I assume it pays a dividend every quarter, but I have a question mark here because I'm not sure. So maybe they just reinstated them recently, but I presume it would be every quarter because ARES Capital Corporation is every quarter also. But this was for 39 cents per share, and it was the first dividend that I've received from them. It was an ordinary dividend. Its quarterly profit margin is about 11%, and annually is about 8.5%. Quarterly debt to assets is 91%, and annually is about 92%. And its annual cash flow from operating is negative $425 million. From investing is negative $136.7 million. And from financing is $943.9 million. Next is Broadcom Incorporated. Ticker symbol is AVGO. It's $476 per share at the moment. And it's in the semiconductors industry of the technology sector. So it designs, develops, and supplies. What's wrong, Doc? It supplies. It designs, develops, and supplies a range of semiconductor and infrastructure software solutions. So it has two segments, which are semiconductor solutions and infrastructure software. Its current dividend yield is about 3%, and it pays a dividend every quarter. Pays a dividend every quarter, and this was the same as the previous, and it was $3.06 per share. Its quarterly profit margin is 22.5%, and annually is about 12%. Its quarterly debt to assets is 68%, and annually is about the same. And its annual cash flow from operating is $12.06 billion. From investing is negative $11.11 billion, and from financing is $1.61 billion. Next is Crown Castle. Ticker symbol is CCI, and I bought it right up here on the tip. Oh, I almost got to the top, but it looks like it's fallen off quite a bit of a steep drop. This would be a great company to get at a discount. Very popular dividend stock. The yield is not fantastic, but very, very solid company. Anyway, sorry, ticker symbol is CCI. It's about $173 per share at the moment, and it's in the rental and leasing industry. So it's a real estate investment trust, or a REIT, which owns, operates, and leases cell towers and route miles of fiber, supporting cable, small cells, and fiber solutions across the US market. So its segments include tower and fiber, which includes both small cells and fiber solutions. And its business is providing access, including space or capacity, to its shared communications infrastructure via long-term contracts in various forms, which include leasing, licensing, subleasing, and service agreements. The tower segment provides access, including space or capacity to its towers, which are geographically dispersed throughout the US. Its current dividend yield is 2.69% and pays a quarterly dividend. This was an ordinary payment of $1.13 per share, which is the same as the previous one that they sent me. Quarterly profit margin, 21%, and annually is about 18%. Its quarterly debt to assets is 77%, and annually is about 75%. And its annual cash flow from operating is $3.06 billion. From investing is negative $1.74 billion, and from financing is negative $1.27 billion. Next is Capital Southwest Corporation. Ticker symbol is CSWC. It's about $26 per share at the moment. It's in the miscellaneous financial services industry. It's an investment company that specializes in providing customized financing to middle market companies in a range of industry segments located primarily in the US. So it's a specialty lending company, and its principal investment objective is to produce risk-adjusted returns by generating current income from debt investments and capital appreciation from its equity and equity-related investments. Current dividend yield is 6.37%, and it pays a dividend every quarter. This was an ordinary dividend of 37 cents per share and a bonus dividend of 8 cents per share. But they're both the first payments that I've received from Capital Southwest. Quarterly profit margin is about 81%, and annually is about 75%. Its quarterly debt to assets is about 56%, and annually is about 54%. And its annual cash flow from operating is negative 68.25 million, and from financing is $86.12 million. Next is Devon Energy Corporation. Ticker symbol is DVN. It's about 38, closer to $39 per share at the moment. It's had a nice little spike upwards. When was this? Well, at the end of August, start of September. It was 28 and it's now 38. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm up 44%. So it's in the oil and gas operations industry of the energy sector. It's an independent energy company that operates through its US operating segment, and it's engaged in exploration, development and production of oil, natural gas and natural gas liquids. Current dividend yield is 1.5%, but it does have a negative earnings per share of $2 at the moment, so they're not making money, they're losing it. Devon Energy pays a quarterly dividend, and it actually paid me twice as well. It paid an ordinary dividend of 9 cents per share. What? Pays an ordinary dividend. This was for 9 cents per share, but the last one I received from them was 26 cents per share. But they also issued a bonus dividend of 32 cents per share. Yeah, so technically paid out like 41 cents. So I don't know why it would have been separated. Maybe they're lowering their ordinary dividend because they can't consistently pay 26 cents per share or more, because they're currently losing money. So maybe they paid like the two of them, so that when you receive the ordinary, they say this is 9 cents per share, this is the realistic one, but here's a bonus one of 32 cents per share also. But we'll see as time goes on. Quarterly profit margin is about 10.5%, and annually is negative 55%. Quarterly debt to assets is 58%, and annually is about 71%. And its annual cash flow from operating is 1.35 billion. From investing is negative 646 million, and from financing is negative $306 million. Next is Extra Space Storage Incorporated. Ticker symbol is EXR. So it's about $168 per share at the moment. It's also fallen off a bit of a peak. It's based in the US, and it's in the miscellaneous transportation industry. It's a self-administered and self-managed real estate investment trust that owns, operates, manages, acquires, develops and redevelops self-storage properties all throughout the USA. So it operates through three segments, which are rental operations, tenant reinsurance, and property management, acquisition and development. Current dividend yield is 2.28%, pays a quarterly dividend, and this was an ordinary payment of $1.06 per share, which is the first I've received from them. Its quarterly profit margin is about 44%, and annually is about 35.5%. Its quarterly debt to assets is about 68.5%, and annually is close to 73%. And its annual cash flow from operating is 771 million. From investing is negative 955 million, and from financing is $241.5 million. Next dividend payers were the Gladstone collection. It's Gladstone Land, Investment, Commercial and Capital. And I've been invested in these for quite a while, even before starting this project with hundreds of dividend stocks, and I've never seen Gladstone acquisition. And it looks to be new. First bit of information is the 26th of September. So I had a little look, and it says it doesn't pay a dividend, but Google stocks, or I think, is it Google stocks or Yahoo Finance, or this basically, there doesn't seem to be much on it at all. The maximum history goes back to the 1st of October. So this appears to be new. So I'm going to use today's dividends. It says it doesn't pay a dividend, but they say that about all stocks when they haven't paid one yet, even when they're brand new. So I assume if it's Gladstone, it's going to pay a dividend. And I know that when a stock opens up like an IPO, I know this probably isn't an IPO, but an IPO is an initial public offering. I don't know if it's for new, I suppose this could be one, but you shouldn't really invest in IPOs in my opinion, because they tend to shoot up like this when everyone's excited and then they fall back to a more realistic price. However, I am going to put today's dividends in here just to see. Oh, maybe you can't. Oh no, it says fractional. Don't know how much I have. €1 and 40. No, 30. Yes, 31. 33. 34. Yeah, 134. So I'm going to add this one in. See what happens. Gladstone acquisition. Anyway, dividend payers. You got Gladstone Investment. Ticker symbol is GAIN. It's about $14 per share at the moment. It's in the miscellaneous financial services industry, and it's an externally managed, closed-end, non-diversified management investment company. And its objectives are to achieve and grow current income by investing in debt securities of established businesses that it believes will provide stable earnings and cash flow to pay expenses, to make principal and interest payments on its outstanding indebtedness, and make distributions to stockholders that grow over time, and to provide its stockholders with long-term capital appreciation in the value of its assets by investing in equity securities, generally in combination with the aforementioned debt securities of businesses that it believes can grow over time, to permit it to sell its equity investments for capital gains. That was a long sentence. So its current dividend yield is 5.65%, and it pays a dividend every month. This was an ordinary dividend of 5 cents per share, but the previous one I received was 2 cents per share. That's pretty good. Quarterly profit margin is 53%, and annually is about 63%, or 62.5%. Quarterly debt to assets is 42.5%, and annually is about 40%. And its annual cash flow from operating is negative 29.73 million, and from financing is 28.07 million. Next is Gladstone Capital. Ticker symbol is GLAD. So it's about $11 per share, based in the US. It's also in the miscellaneous financial services industry. Closed-end, non-diversified management investment company, operating as a business development company. Achieve and grow current income. This seems to be very similar to the previous one. Make principal on the indebtedness. Big long sentence, yep. So this is focused on investing in lower middle market companies in the US. In the South, the Midwest, the West and the Northeast, and its portfolio allocation includes debt investments and equity investments. Current dividend yield is 6.8%, but it does have a slightly negative earnings per share at the moment. Pays a dividend every month, and this was an ordinary dividend of 5 cents per share, which is down a little bit from the previous 6 cents per share. Quarterly profit margin is a nice 165%, and annually is negative 4%. Its quarterly debt to assets is 46%, and annually is about 49%. and its annual cash flow from operating is negative 46.09 million, and from financing is 32.81 million. Next is Gladstone Commercial. Ticker symbol is GOOD. So it's about 21, closer to $22 per share. It's in the real estate operations industry. It's a real estate investment trust that focuses on acquiring, owning, and managing primarily office and industrial properties. It has 122 properties located in 28 states, about 14.9 million square feet. Current dividend yield is 6.64%, and it also has a slightly negative earnings per share, which is not good. And it pays a monthly dividend. This was an ordinary payment of 10 cents per share, which is down a little bit from the previous 11 cents per share. Quarterly profit margin is 6.4%, and over the last year is 11.22%. Its quarterly debt to assets is 65.5%, and annually is about 66%. And its annual cash flow from operating is 65.5 million. From investing is negative 100 million, and from financing is 39.35 million. And the last Gladstone is Gladstone Land. Ticker symbol is LAND. It's about $23 per share at the moment. It's in the rental and leasing industry. It's another real estate investment trust and is engaged in the business of owning and leasing farmland. It owns about 127 farms, comprised of about 93, closer to 94,000 acres in 13 states. Current dividend yield is 2.3%. It also has a negative earnings per share, and it pays a dividend every month. This was an ordinary dividend of 3 cents per share, which is down a little bit from the previous 4 cents per share. Quarterly profit margin is negative 3%, and annually is about 8.5%. Quarterly debt to assets is 60%, and annually is about 64%. And its annual cash flow from operating is 25 million. From investing is negative 272.9 million, and from financing is 243.43 million. Next is Great Elm Capital. Ticker symbol is GECC. It's about $3.50 per share at the moment, and it's in the miscellaneous financial services industry. It's a non-diversified closed-end management investment company, and it's focused on generating income and capital appreciation by investing in middle market companies which operate in a range of industries. It also focuses on making multi-year investments, primarily in secured debt and instruments that it purchases in the secondary market, though it may also originate investments directly. Current dividend yield is a nice 11.17%, but it has a pretty heavily negative earnings per share at the moment. Its quarterly profit margin is 40%, and annually is negative 139%. Its quarterly debt to assets is about 77%, and annually is about 72%. And its annual cash flow from operating is 27.39 million, and from financing is 21 million. Great Elm Capital pays a dividend every month, and this was an ordinary dividend of 8 cents per share, which is the same as the previous one that I received. And next is a dividend payer, another monthly payer that I'm pretty excited about because I have about €30 in them, which I'd put in, I think I bought in like up here originally, and then it just didn't really do anything. Then started decreasing, and then I averaged in, I think it was like down here when I bought in again, and it brought my average down quite a lot, and it's now even lower. So if I had money, I would throw a bit into this. Yeah, see, I'm 31, like I'm pretty heavily red, so it'll be a nice discount. And this is the first dividend I've received from them, so they may be back. So it's Gold Resource. Ticker symbol is GORO. It's about $1.50 per share at the moment. It's in the gold and silver industry of the basic materials sector. It's a mining company, and it's a producer of metal concentrates that contain gold, silver, copper, lead, and zinc, and ore containing gold and silver at the Agia and Alta Gracia projects in the southern state of Oaxaca, Mexico. Sorry, I probably butchered that pronunciation. So its current dividend yield is 2.35%. It does have a negative earnings per share at the moment, unfortunately, but it pays a dividend every month, and this was $0.0085. So it was 0.85 of 1 cent per share. So it looks like they're just paying what they can, like the lowest that they possibly can. But at least they're paying something. Because I think I've held them for quite a while and they haven't paid anything. But yeah, it was the first one. I'm pretty excited about that. I hope it continues. Quarterly profit margin is about 4%, and annually is closer to 5%. Its quarterly debt to assets is 18.5%, and annually is about 14.5%. And its annual cash flow from operating is 35.4 million. From investing is negative 14.45 million, and from financing is negative 5.22 million. And next is another monthly paying stock, a pretty popular one, LTC Properties. Ticker symbol is LTC. It's also on quite a bit of a dip. I'm about 17% down at the moment. This is another one that if I had money, I would throw some in. So it's about $32.50 per share. It's based in the US. It's in the real estate operations industry, the real estate investment trust, and it invests in senior housing and healthcare properties through sale leaseback transactions, mortgage financing, and structured finance solutions, which includes mezzanine lending. Its dividend yield is 6.5%, pays a dividend every month, and this was for 16 cents per share, which is the same as the previous one. Its quarterly profit margin is about 48%, and annually is about 60%. Quarterly debt to assets is 46%, closer to 47%, and annually is about 47.5%. And its annual cash flow from operating is 116.1 million. From investing is about 44 million, and from financing is negative $156.5 million. Next is the iShares UK Dividend. Ticker symbol is IUKD. It's about £7.13 per share. And this is the usual ETF information that we get. I haven't done a video on all of my ETFs yet, so I'm going to research each one, get a feel for what their holdings are and what they're invested in, and then I'll do a little explanation on each one, because I honestly don't know, to be honest, at the moment. So there's not really much information I can give. They pay a dividend every quarter. This one was for 16.65 pence per share, and the previous one was 13.63 pence per share, so it's gone up quite a bit. That's nice. But yeah, I'll get more information on all the ETFs. I haven't actually done one. I have quite a few. I think I've 15 different ETFs. Next is another UK stock, M&G. Ticker symbol is MNG. It's about £2 per share at the moment. And it's a UK-based savings and investment company, so it's in the investment services industry. It manages investments for both individuals and for institutional investors, such as pension funds. Its company's asset management and customer solutions are supported by its two brands, which are Prudential and M&G Investments. Current dividend yield is 8.9%. It's pretty good, but it does only pay a dividend twice a year. This was the first payment I've received, and it's for 6.1 pence per share. Its quarterly net income is negative 251 million, and annually is 1.14 billion pounds, but this is the only information it gives. Its quarterly debt to assets is about 98%, and annually is about 97.5%. And its annual cash flow from operating is 2.58 billion. From investing is negative 957 million, and from financing is negative 880 million pounds. Next we have HSBC Holdings. Ticker symbol is HSBA. It's about £3.84 per share. It's in the regional banks industry, and it's a banking and financial services company. It manages its products and services through three businesses, which are wealth and personal banking, commercial banking, and global banking and markets. Operates in various geographic regions, which include Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa. Current dividend yield is 4.24%, and it pays an annual dividend. This was an ordinary payment of 5.12 pence per share, but it was the first one that I've received from them. Its quarterly net income is 7.95 billion, and annually is 5.23 billion. Its quarterly debt to assets is 93%, and annually is about the same. And its annual cash flow from operating is 182.2 billion pounds. From investing is negative 22.4 billion pounds, and from financing is negative 4.64 billion pounds. Next we have the Renewables Infrastructure Group. Ticker symbol is TRIG. It's about £1.24 per share. And it's a Guernsey-based closed-end investment company that invests in operational renewable energy generation products, predominantly in onshore and offshore wind and solar photovoltaic segments across the UK and Northern Europe. So it's in the miscellaneous financial services industry. Dividend yield is 5.37%, pays a dividend every quarter, and this was for 1.69 pence per share, but it was the first that I received from them. Quarterly profit margin is 349%, very nice, and annually is 84%. Its quarterly debt to assets is basically nothing, 0.02%, and over the last year was 0.08%. Very nice. Its annual cash flow from operating is 115.5 million. From investing is negative 431 million, and from financing is 211 million. And that's looking healthy. That's a very healthy quarterly profit margin. Ooh, very nice. And the last two were both ETFs. This was the Euro. So the Vanguard FTSE All World in Euro. It's about €99 per share at the moment. Ticker symbol is VWRL. So this is on the it's on the Dutch stock exchange, and it pays a dividend every quarter. This was for 38 cents per share in euro, but the previous one was 49 cents per share. And the last, the SPDR S&P Euro Dividend Aristocrats. Ticker symbol is SPYW. So it's about €22 per share. It's on the German market and it pays a dividend twice a year. This was an ordinary payment of 56 cents per share in euro, and the previous one I received was 9 cents per share. That's a massive difference. Yeah, that's the difference, the interim and the final. So this must be the interim, 9 cents per share. And the last final one was 56 cents per share. But that's it. That was quite a long one. 22 dividend payments. And I also invested it into this one, Gladstone acquisition. So we'll see how this does. It's probably going to see a very sharp decline when all the excitement fades away. But we don't know, it could go up for another while. I could have actually gotten in early, but it doesn't really look like it when you see this. It's quite a nice bump. And no, it gives the ETF layout of information. Must be because it's brand new, but we'll learn more about it when I get my first dividend payment. I'll look into it a little bit. So that's it for today. And I hope that you're not bored senseless. If you made it to the end, well done, and thank you very much. And I hope that you'll stop by again soon.